Let's get right into it. Number 1, your lungs go boom. So you're floating peacefully in space. No helmet, no suit, just vibes. 1 second you're fine, the next you're basically a human balloon filled with regrets. Here's the deal. Earth's atmosphere keeps all your juicy insides comfortably compressed. But in space, no pressure. Zero. Nada. That means the air trapped in your lungs wants out. Fast. If you were to take a deep breath and then suddenly get sucked into the vacuum of space, that air would expand rapidly like it's late for a meeting. Your lungs? They tear open like overinflated plastic bags. Even worse, the dissolved nitrogen in your blood? That turns into bubbles, like a morbid soda can being shaken and popped open at once. It's called embolism. Yes, it sounds fancy, but it basically turns your bloodstream into fizzy death. The good news? You won't explode like a cartoon. The bad news? You'll pass out in 15 seconds from lack of oxygen. And unless someone drag and drops you back into an atmosphere within a minute or two, your body will start dying in very unfun ways. So no, you can't just hold your breath in space like you're diving in a pool. That only makes it worse. You're better off exhaling completely and hoping you get rescued before your lungs file for divorce. Number 2, your eyes start boiling. Let's say you miraculously don't black out instantly. Congrats. Now your eyeballs are starting to boil. Not from heat, mind you. Space is actually freezing cold. But here's the twisted part. Without atmospheric pressure holding liquids together, your bodily fluids start to vaporize at body temperature. That includes the thin layer of moisture protecting your eyes. So now your corneas are steaming like tiny haunted hot tubs. You won't feel heat, just extreme, blinding dryness, like staring directly into a sandblaster made of air fryers. Your tears evaporate instantly. Your saliva follows. Even the wet lining inside your nose starts to puff out like a microwave marshmallow. And yes, that does mean your tongue goes dry, your throat seizes up, and basically your entire face becomes a desiccated desert in under a minute. Not cute. Meanwhile, your blood is boiling too, but inside your body. It doesn't form steam geysers or anything, but it does expand, thicken, and create pressure that makes your skin puff up like a microwaved grape. Still think astronauts are just space plumbers in cool suits? They're walking around in mini life support tanks that keep all this horrific body horror inside. Number 3, you freeze and burn at the same time. Space is like the world's worst buffet. You get served both frostbite and sunburn simultaneously. See, there's no atmosphere to block solar radiation. That means if you're facing the sun, you're getting nuked by direct, unfiltered ultraviolet death rays. Instant sunburn, like third-degree sunburn in seconds. But turn your back to the sun, you're now facing deep space, which is colder than your ex's heart, like minus 270 degrees Celsius. That's barely above absolute zero. So your backside is flash freezing while your front side is being roasted like a marshmallow in hell. And because there's no air to transfer heat around your body, this contrast happens fast. You are, quite literally, cooking and freezing at the same time. You're a cosmic rotisserie chicken, but with fewer spices and way more screaming. The only reason astronauts aren't turning into crispy ice cubes every 5 minutes is because their suits have heaters, coolers, reflectors, and more insulation than a paranoid squirrel's winter nest. Out there, without a suit, you're just a meat popsicle with sunburn. Number 4. You puff up like a bodybuilder on cheat day. No, you won't explode. That's Hollywood drama. But your body does puff up, enough to make you unrecognizable. Remember that whole no-pressure situation? Without air keeping your body tight and compact, your skin starts expanding like it's in a slow-motion bounce house. Your hands, feet, and face will swell up. Your veins will bulge. Your joints will stiffen. Your whole vibe becomes angry balloon animal. The swelling doesn't hurt, weirdly enough. Your nerves are too busy panicking from the lack of oxygen. But the look? Oh, it's not pretty. You're bloated, purple, and semi-frozen, floating like a cursed Macy's Day parade float. And no, clenching your muscles won't help. This isn't an anime transformation. It's your fluids panicking under pressure loss. Eventually, if you're not rescued, your tissue starts to rupture. Not all at once. Just Enough to make the coroner take one look and go, yeah, that was space. It's like your body's trying to cosplay as a marshmallow in a vacuum chamber. And spoiler, you don't get the satisfying pop, just the slow, squishy horror. Number 5. You lose all sense of direction, literally. Let's talk about the worst case of where am I? Your body will ever experience. In space, up and down, not a thing. There's no gravity to anchor your senses. No wind, no floor, no helpful signs pointing to the restroom. Your inner ear, the part responsible for balance, basically just shrugs and gives up. You can spin slowly for hours without realizing it. You could be upside down and feel perfectly upright. You could be doing the world's slowest cartwheel, and your brain would be like, seems normal. The fancy term for this mess is spatial disorientation, and it hits astronauts hard during spacewalks. Without visual references, your brain starts glitching. People have reported feeling like they were falling endlessly, or drifting headfirst into nothingness while trying to fix a satellite. On Earth, your body relies on gravity and resistance to tell you where you are. In space, your limbs float like forgotten noodles in soup. There's no floor to plant your feet on, so your brain gets confused. It's like trying to walk drunk inside a black void filled with strobe lights and existential dread. Even if you could survive without a suit, spoiler, you can't, your coordination would be wrecked. You wouldn't even know which way to flail for help. Congratulations. You're now a confused, swollen balloon drifting through the void, asking the cosmos which way is down. Number 6. Cosmic radiation gives you space cancer. Space is not just cold and empty, it's also radioactive. Like gamma-ray death beams to the face radioactive. Without Earth's atmosphere and magnetic field protecting you, you're exposed to cosmic radiation 24/7. And it's not the fun kind from superhero origin stories. There's solar radiation from the sun and galactic cosmic rays from deep space. And both are filled with high-energy particles that shoot through your cells like tiny bullets. These bad boys can tear through your DNA like a paper shredder with anger issues. Prolonged exposure increases your risk of cancer, cataracts, brain damage, and all the other things you really don't want while floating in the middle of nowhere. NASA actually limits how many days astronauts can spend in orbit to lower their lifetime cancer risk. Yeah, it's that bad. And if you're out there without a suit, you're getting blasted with radiation like a microwave burrito set to nuclear. Sure, it's not an instant death ray, but your cells are definitely screaming. Some will mutate, some will die, some will just start duplicating themselves in all the wrong ways. So even if you somehow survive the cold, the vacuum, and the boiling eyeballs, congrats, you're now on the fast track to becoming a very sad medical mystery. Number 7. You'll probably go blind. Here's something NASA didn't expect at first. Space messes with your eyeballs in weird, terrifying ways. Astronauts have returned from long missions with blurred vision, flattened eyeballs, and swollen optic nerves. Some changes are temporary, others are not. It's called SANS, Spaceflight-Associated Neuroocular Syndrome, and it's exactly as fun as it sounds. What causes it? Likely a mix of fluid redistribution and increased pressure in the skull. Without gravity, your body fluids float upward, face, head, brain. Basically, your upper body becomes a water balloon. That swelling pushes on the back of your eyeballs, flattening them and distorting your vision like a funhouse mirror you can't walk away from. And remember, this is happening even with a spacesuit and protection. Now imagine it happening while your whole face is puffing up like a marshmallow, your eyes are boiling, and you're being cooked by UV rays. At that point, blurry vision is just insult to injury. So even if you don't die instantly in space, you might still lose your ability to see your tragic fate coming. Number 8. Your skin starts to shed. Let's end this part on a creepy, underrated note. Skin loss. Not in the horror movie peel it off kind of way. More like a snow globe of sadness. In microgravity, your skin gets lazy. The dead skin cells that normally slew off into your clothes or shower, they don't go anywhere. They just float, in clumps, around you, constantly. Astronauts have reported clouds of floating skin flakes in their cabins. which is not only disgusting, it's a full-time cleaning nightmare. You're basically living inside your own biological dandruff storm. And yes, it's worse during spacewalks. The inside of your suit becomes a tiny weather system of sweat, skin, and smell. Because without gravity, nothing settles. It just orbits your face forever. So no, your skin won't melt off in space, but it will try to abandon you in tiny, flaky pieces, like it knows what's coming. Number 9. You can't fart properly. Let's get real. Bodily gas is part of the human experience. But in space, your digestive system turns into a confused, bloated pressure cooker. Here's why. On Earth, gravity helps separate gas from liquids and solids in your stomach and intestines. That's why you can burp and fart without, usually, needing a follow-up apology to your laundry. In space, though, there's no up or down. Gases don't rise. Everything just swirls around inside you like a haunted smoothie. This means your body can't tell the difference between a gas bubble and something far less polite. Astronauts have to really think before letting one rip because that release might come with extra content. Risky business in a $12 million diaper. To make it worse, microgravity messes with your gut microbiome. That's the friendly colony of bacteria that help you digest food. They get cranky in space, which leads to more fermentation and more gas. Combine that with dehydrated space food and a confined metal box, and you've got a gastrointestinal horror show. So yes, your digestive system breaks down a little in space, and not just figuratively. You become a bloated gas bag with no safe way to deflate. And if you do, the whole crew will know. Number 10. Your taste buds revolt. Ever notice astronauts eat a lot of spicy food in space? That's not just a menu preference. It's a survival tactic. Space dulls your sense of taste. Why? Because all that upward shifting fluid we mentioned earlier clogs your sinuses. Imagine having a permanent mild cold that never goes away. Food starts tasting like damp cardboard. Your taste buds still work, technically, but without your sense of smell backing them up, everything becomes bland. So astronauts start craving anything with flavor strong enough to punch through the congestion. Think hot sauce, mustard, jalapenos, and salt. Lots of salt. Even more ironically, your body needs less salt in space because the fluid redistribution raises your blood pressure. But your mouth is like, nope, give me that chili paste or give me death. So your flavor experience becomes a weird mix of oversalted everything and nose blindness. And if you're stuck up there for months, you might actually forget what real food tastes like. Coming back to Earth and biting into a strawberry? Astronauts have called it emotional. That's what space does, it ruins tacos and tears. Number 11. You become emotionally weird. Okay, so your body's falling apart, but let's not forget your brain is quietly spiraling, too. Extended time in space can seriously mess with your emotions. You're isolated, confined, sleep-deprived, disoriented, floating in a metal tube with no fresh air or private space, all while staring at a view that constantly reminds you how small and fragile you are. Fun. Astronauts report mood swings, irritability, depression, and sometimes even hallucinations. You can't go for a walk. You can't open a window. The person next to you has been chewing loudly for 47 straight days. Your only contact with Earth is a time-delayed voice through static. NASA actually tests for space resilience. They screen out people who can't handle the boredom, the sensory deprivation, or the sheer existential terror of floating in the void. But even the strongest minds crack a little. One astronaut described Earth as a bright marble of everything you ever loved, forever out of reach. If that sentence doesn't punch you in the soul, congratulations, you might be ready for Mars. Number 12. Your bones and muscles disappear. Turns out your skeleton is lazy. If you're not using it to fight gravity, it starts quitting. Astronauts can lose up to 1% of their bone density per month in space. That's osteoporosis speedrunning. Muscles, too. Without the need to stand, walk, or do literally anything besides float, your body starts eating its own muscle tissue like a snack. Legs and core go first. Your calves deflate. Your spine actually elongates, you grow taller in space, but only because your discs are decompressing. It's cool until you come back and your Earth body is like, what happened to my legs? To fight this, astronauts work out 2 hours a day using resistance machines strapped to the floor. No gravity means no gains. So if you're not doing space squats daily, your body turns into a floppy sack of sadness. Even with all that effort, they still come home weaker. Readjusting to gravity takes weeks. Their bones are brittle. Their balance is off. Their muscles forget what stairs are. Basically, space makes you fall apart like expired IKEA furniture. Number 13. Your heart forgets how to heart. In space, your cardiovascular system gets a little too chill. Without gravity pulling blood downward, your heart doesn't have to work as hard to pump blood around your body. Sounds nice, right? Like a spa day for your aorta? Not exactly. Your heart's a muscle, and muscles that stop working shrink. Over time, your heart physically atrophies. It literally forgets how to be strong. If you stayed in space long enough, you'd come back to Earth and promptly pass out trying to stand, because your newly lazy heart can't handle the pressure difference anymore. Even weirder, your blood volume decreases in space. Your body sees all that upward floating blood and thinks, wow, I must be overloaded. So it dumps plasma and red blood cells like Marie Kondo in a crisis. Less blood plus weaker heart equals welcome to fainting town. There's also orthostatic intolerance, which is fancy talk for your body sucks at standing now. Astronauts train for weeks to learn how to sit upright again without tipping over like fainting goats. So yeah, your heart can keep beating in space, but it definitely stops caring about your Earth-based needs. Number 14. You'll start to smell like a burnt steak. No, really. Space has a smell, and it's weirdly specific. Astronauts report that the airlock in their suits smell like burnt steak, hot metal, or welding fumes after a spacewalk. The official science-wide term is polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, which are released when stars burn or when atomic particles smash into your gear at high speeds. But your nose doesn't care about chemistry. It just knows it's smelling something aggressive and vaguely meaty, which is horrifying when you realize that's the scent of the cosmos. The universe smells like overcooked barbecue and melted spaceship. And no, it's not because you're hallucinating. The particles actually cling to the fabric of the suit and outgas when they return to pressurized areas. So after a spacewalk, your gear walks in smelling like a grill explosion, and you're stuck with it. So yes, space has a smell. And no, it's not minty fresh. It's basically the olfactory equivalent of a sci-fi horror movie. Number 15. You will be buried nowhere. Let's end on a cheerful note. If you die in space, and statistically someone eventually will, your body has very few burial options. If you're inside the spacecraft, you'll be sealed in a body bag and stored in a refrigerated locker. If there's no freezer, you get vented outside and float through space like a tragic, orbiting potato. If you die outside the spacecraft, well, you're now drifting forever. You won't decompose. There's no bacteria, no oxygen, no moisture. Instead, you'll freeze dry, puff up, and slowly get shredded by cosmic radiation over thousands of years. It's the slowest cremation known to science. And if your body somehow lands on a planet like Mars, that's a contamination hazard. NASA would panic. International laws would be triggered. All because you had the audacity to die somewhere inconvenient. So yeah, if you perish in space, there's no gravestone. Just a never-ending, frozen float through the void. Maybe photobombing alien telescopes for eternity. Sleep tight. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them. ****.